Good afternoon, everyone. Dr. Jared here, coming to you from the clinic, discussing the book, The Paleo Cardiologist. We're all the way to chapter 13 today. That is the topic of healthy beverages. So if you're not familiar with the book, keep in mind Paleo Cardiologist by Dr. Jack Wolfson. Fantastic book. Possibly one of the best, or possibly the best book I've ever read on a singular topic from a holistic perspective. Now, talking about healthy beverages, most nutrition discussions are based around food. They just are, talking about carbs and fats and proteins and eat this but not that. But as many of you know, a lot of especially that sugar is hidden in drinks, whether that's soda or whether that's like Starbucks. You see it in sweet teas. Sugar more than anything is hidden in a lot of stuff that we drink. So what I'd like to do today is really talk about the concepts of the fluids that you should be consuming, some of the benefits, what to avoid, and what to watch for based on maybe your genetic makeup or things like that. So, first of all, getting enough fluid is possibly the cheapest and most efficient way to detox. You need water, or you need fluid, in many cases to bind with toxins, to help with elimination, for digestion of food, in certain cases for absorption of nutrients. So getting enough fluids helps reduce constipation. If you take too long to digest your food, you for lack of a better explanation, you reabsorb the toxicity. In some cases, it can make you sicker, can make you more toxic, and increases risks of all sorts of health problems as a whole. So first of all, just get enough. What's enough? Give or take, and there's some discussion about this, but give or take, what is enough would be half your body weight in ounces. So if you weigh 200 pounds, drink at least 100 ounces of water. I've seen some caveats to this, which are not listed in the book. For instance, if you drink an additional 6 ounces of coffee and you weigh 200 pounds, you need to drink 100 ounces of water plus another 12 ounces of water because of the 6 ounces of coffee. So drinking double whatever the caffeinated beverage you drink. And that's probably based on how much caffeine is in the beverage, how acidic it is, things like that. Now, since the most essential thing, 75%, give or take, of your body's water, you need to drink enough water. That is the basics or essentials. A few things for people who feel like they don't like water, they don't like the taste of it. One would be to add like herbal tea to it. There's orange tea and lemon tea and things like that that are uncaffeinated. Even add a few antioxidants and can help give it a little different flavor without any sweetener, artificial sweetener. People ask a lot, what are the types of water that's recommended? So in your house, if you're filtering your water, the book, and I agree, as far as reverse osmosis is the best type of water to have if you're filtering tap water. It pulls everything out, or nearly everything out. It does pull the minerals out, but you can get the minerals through supplementation or food, but it gets the most toxins out, and that's a big component. If you're buying water, the best water would be considered as spring water. So you see that with whether it's like Fiji, which is from an aquifer, you can see natural spring water written right on the label. But spring water has a lot of the minerals, less toxicity overall. You've probably, if you've done any research into this, you've probably noticed how many times they talk about water that doesn't disclose their source. Often they're like just filling up tap water and then bottling it, So other thing to talk about, water that you consume without drinking it. So for instance, like in the shower or things like that. So another thing to consider adding, if you're really getting into this, is to consider a whole house filtration system. So that's different than your drinking water, because you're going to, it's going to be what your clothes are washing. But the big thing is for your shower. You can either buy those for the shower on the spigot heads, or you can purchase them and have them installed. I had one installed about 6 years ago at my house from Connecticut here in Rockford, and it's just, you don't smell the chlorine or the chlorine byproducts when the steam. It's better overall. It's healthier for you. So sometimes you're drinking water without realizing you're drinking water, and so you want that water to be purified if possible as well. Now, to talk about coffees and teas. So first of all, coffee is kind of one of those that has both good and bad. There's studies that show negative effects. There's studies that show positive effects. In my opinion, it's not the first thing to get rid of. I don't think coffee is the worst thing in the world. I think people overconsume it and don't get enough water, which is a serious issue. One thing about coffee, though, you do want to buy it organic. Coffee is one of the most sprayed foods out there, chemically sprayed. They spray with aflatoxin, which can trigger migraines. There's just a lot of stuff that's on non-organic coffee. So I'd strongly recommend, if you are going to drink coffee, that you brew it from an organic source. Now, the thing about coffee or any of the caffeinated drinks is really partially the caffeine. Caffeine's linked to higher blood pressure, arrhythmias, higher pulse rates, anxiety, and many other things. So too much caffeine or being genetically not able to process caffeine as well can lead to issues. So, and kind of like diet soda, decaf coffee actually has more chemicals in it. So maybe you need to do it to get rid of the caffeine, but there's a water decaffeination process that is a little more expensive, but is better for you overall. That leads us to herbal teas. So most commonly you think of black tea or green tea. They're actually from a very similar source. It's how much they're oxidized. Black tea is made to have a stronger taste and have more caffeine per volume. So, but black tea and green tea both have antioxidants. They have a lot of good benefits. There's a lot of things that are shown. And one thing you have to watch out for with teas, though, is just like a lot of things we've commercially produced, if you're purchasing them non-organic, there are, in some teas, unsafe levels of heavy metals. And I bet you didn't think that you were adding heavy metals when you're drinking herbal tea for your health. You know, and that's one of the unfortunate things with some of the food processing that occurs, is to get it cheaper, they process it cheaper, they dry it cheaper, and heavy metals actually do go up in, it can be in organic teas, but it's less prevalent in organic teas as a whole. Onward to soda. I don't think anybody's surprised soda is not good for you, so I'm not really going to explain the sugar component, but a couple things I do want to point out. Many people don't think of the acid, the phosphoric acid that's in most sodas, that they increase your risk of osteoporosis by pulling calcium out of your bones because they're so acidic. So calcium is also very important for your heart because it helps how fast your heart contracts, and to actually buffer your blood, that's what your body does, is it pulls the calcium out of your bones. One nice substitute for this is called Zevia Pop, Zevia, which is sold at most grocery stores in the health food aisle. It doesn't have the acids, and it doesn't have the sugar or the artificial sweeteners in it. So Zevia Pop is a nice healthier substitute for that. That leads to diet sodas. Diet sodas are absolutely terrible for you. They are linked way more dramatically to both heart disease and cancer risks. They increase blood sugar. They're shown to increase weight gain. You just flat out don't want to drink diet soda, according to the book and in my opinion as well. The only thing that might be worse than diet soda are energy drinks, especially diet energy drinks. Higher in chemicals, higher in sugar in many cases, dramatically higher in caffeine. You know, you can type in on Google Red Bull and heart attack and see, according to the book, it says 64 million different entries on how energy drinks negatively affect the heart. So again, that's not my research, that's research in the book. If you're watching this for the first time, I strongly encourage you, by chapter 13, we're almost at the point of 300 research articles that back up anything that is being stated here, unless it's my opinion, which I can tell you I have researched strongly as well. Another healthy drink is called kombucha. It's a raw tea, essentially. Actually, kombucha is one thing that you can make very cheaply. For about $0.25 a gallon, you can make kombucha. So you just need what's called a SCOBY, and then you brew the tea and let it sit, and it grows natural probiotics. Most people sweeten it with just a tiny bit of fruit juice, and so it's lower in sugar. You don't have to put any sugar in it. It's very alkaline. There's a lot of studies that shows that it has preventative effects of cancer and other things. In fact, one of our doctors here at the clinic, Dr. Alex, loves to brew kombucha. You can also buy it in the store, but it comes out at, give or take, about $3 per 16 ounces. So it's something you can produce if you want to, or you can purchase it in the store. To finish here then, basically the end of each chapter, as most of you know as you've been reading, has a case study, and then an action plan. So what I'd like to do is just simplify it, and I'm going to post it or hold it up right here to the camera. But it has those core 5. So you want to drink clean water, herbal teas, green or black tea, kombucha, and you could do some club soda or sparkling water. You want to limit coffee and alcohol. There's a little bit in here about alcohol, but you probably know alcohol also not great for your health. The thing that I forgot to mention about coffee is that although many people drink coffee, it would not technically be considered paleo if you're trying to follow a paleo dietary guideline. The things to avoid: dairy, soda, diet soda, and energy drinks, which most people know. Some people aren't as familiar with avoiding dairy, especially milk in general, unless it's raw, grass-fed, and organic. So hope you're enjoying these. As a reminder, anyone that's a current client can post or come in, whichever you can direct message me if you don't feel comfortable coming into the clinic. But anybody that's a current client, we are giving complimentary books away. And we actually just had to order another 100 books. We've had 250 people over the last couple of weeks pick up a book and start reading. I so strongly encourage you to empower yourself and live your absolute best life. Have a great day.